It's Wellness Wednesdays. It's Wellness Wednesday. And this Wellness Wednesday, we're talking about socializing, why it's so hard. And as I promised yesterday, and talked about very briefly, I've gotten back into event stuff. Megan, who some of you know from the Discord, and I have a company called New World Events. Well, it's a subsidiary of my incorporated company. But it's what we're trying to do is get people out and make it easier for people to socialize based on some of the pitfalls that I've heard based on research, but also client work. So I'm going to talk about sort of the thoughts behind it today as best I can to give you a sense of why I'm doing this and counter the she just wants attention. I'm an introvert, fuck off, okay? Help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who uses it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. There is a place on the name of the event's the unbirthday ball. It Googles real well, go Megan. The unbirthday, like in Alice in Wonderland, ball, because it's Alice in Wonderland themed. There is a way that you can donate an amount if you're not in Toronto to subsidize a ticket for someone so they can go. We also have virtual tickets. We're going to have a 1-hour show that you can watch at home, because I know that a lot of people who watch this channel are not local, like not even close, and FOMO is real. And so we wanted to have a way that people who just support this initiative could help, because even though we are the cheapest fantasy ball tickets that we can find, that took some work. It's still, you know, $100 Canadian, which is $125 Canadian. It's less American. I could be wrong about that. Now I'm second guessing myself. Anyway, it's under $100 American. That's what we were trying to keep. Now, fortunately, the Canadian dollar tanked, so that became a lot easier. Yay, us. Everything else is more expensive. Anyway, the idea of doing an Alice in Wonderland theme is it's fairly easy to put together an outfit because Wonderland, there's a lot of play there. People sort of know what Wonderland looks like. It's accessible for guys too. And people sort of have an idea what to do. We have an additional ticket if you wanna. We're gonna build a really wild indoor croquet set and have a bizarre tea party in the afternoon. And the evening is going to be a typical, you know, what you expect from a fantasy ball, but we're going to give people specific things to do so that they know what to say at given times, right? And that I have found is the biggest thing when I work with people who want to make friends, want to socialize more, but don't know how. They're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go. And this has been a process of checking my own privilege, because I am so introverted, but also I'm actually shy. I talk on It's Not Therapy this week about how I feel like I'm bothering people whenever I reach out, and I have to actively kind of overcome that to talk to anybody. So I think, well, if I can do it, anybody can do it. But no, there are actually people who have more trouble because they, you know, I almost decided to be pithy and say they weren't forced to socialize, but they were. It just didn't teach them anything, right? The best thing that happened to me was being a journalist, because I realized I was in a completely different headspace when I went in as a journalist. Like, I would literally put my foot in the door to stop them from closing it at me. booth at EA booth at E3 they lose my appointment every single year. Here we go. Here's the dance, right? And I realized that if it was just me going to a social event, I would just go away. But reporter me, nope, I deserve to be here. And I'm like, okay, there's something there in terms of headspace, right? If you know you're going to go there and have an idea of what to do. And that's why the whole Disney adult phenomenon is compelling, because I'm a Disney adult, right? I really like Disney. I think they do great with hospitality. And the thing that you guys know, I've done mascot work like back in the day when my body still worked properly. And I loved doing mascot work, and I love mascots because you can just run up to somebody you don't know and hug them. Like, that's great to me. And it's not weird. It's totally cool, right? And that's the sort of stuff that, because everybody knows like the Queen of Hearts and the Cheshire Cat and all that stuff, they know something about at least a character when they walk in. That minimizes the unknown. Also, there will be instructions about things. Here how it's going to work. You come in, you're going to be told, first thing you need to do is go over there and do this thing. So the not knowing what to do, we eliminate that. And that's because we're working with, we are neurodivergent ourselves. We're used to working, and we enjoy working with neurodiverse populations. And you know what? Neurotypical people appreciate this too. Just because somebody is neurotypical doesn't mean they navigate social situations with grace. So, one of the reasons I like doing Alice, we talked about this in the author's quorum this week, was that Alice in Wonderland to me has always been, Charles Dodson, aka Lewis Carroll, coming back from work and going, I hate the neurotypical world, right? There's all these rules and on these unwritten things and all these things you're just supposed to know. And he worked out his frustration with that, telling stories to a kid. That's my headcanon, and I'm sticking to it. This whole idea of a nonsense world. I don't see nonsense in Wonderland. I see a deconstruction of neurotypicality. There's all these things you're just supposed to know how to do. How? Right? So we're taking inspiration from that, and there will be a bunch of stuff that, because it is Wonderland and I will be the Queen of Hearts, we're just going to do things that the Queen says, and nobody knows how to do it. Everybody is in the exact same boat, right? It is a beautiful theme to get people out there and doing things that are intentionally silly, and nobody's going to make fun of you because everybody's in the same boat, right? Everybody there is going to know what it's like to be a nerd. And part of this was also inspired by, and I say nerd affectionately, part of this was inspired by going to like A Court of Thorn and Roses theme balls. And the guys that were there, bless them. One of the story that kind of encapsulates everything is I was sitting with one of the other volunteers as a 19-year-old guy. So we started talking about video games because, of course, and it was like Elden Ring and a bunch of other things. And then for some reason, I just played, as I say, Jedi Falling Order instead of Jedi Fallen Order because, fall. And we were talking about Outlaws coming out soon, so you can kind of date when this happened. But we started talking about stuff, Star Wars. And you saw this one guy, there was like a table here, and we were both sitting on the same side of the table, and I saw this guy, it was like all of a sudden he saw an oasis in the desert coupled by like a beautiful, brilliant, holy light. And he comes over, he goes, "Are you talking about Star Wars?" And I was like, "Why, yes, we are, sir." And he goes, "I have no idea what's going on with any of this. This is the conversation I've been waiting for." I was like, "Okay, pull up a chair. Let's talk about Star Wars." Because it really is, A Court of Thorn and Roses, like ACOTAR is so girl. I had to lose a bet to read it. I was like, what is this? It took me to like the third book to like, okay, there's war now. I found my place in this because I didn't get it at all. And then I started going, okay, like I learned. And so my pain is going to be to the benefit of everybody, because going to those events, I had no idea what was appropriate. I had no idea what was too much or not enough. And people would send me videos, and that didn't tell me anything. Like, to me, it looked just like prom. And I'm like, it can't be that simple. And for some people, it is that simple. Other people showed up in costumes. So it's like, okay, we want to do kind of an anything goes thing. If it makes you feel good, and you smell okay, come, like we don't want that. We don't want that stress. And then, things like accessibility and all that stuff. I've done so much, so we don't have to worry about too many flashing lights. The music's not gonna be too loud. Megan is an opera singer, so she may not need a microphone. We're gonna have to microphone her for the stream, but Megan's got a gorgeous voice. So if you want to get a ticket just to hear Megan sing, a virtual ticket if you're not in the area. But it's all gonna be very much like, okay, you're mingling with people you don't know. Here's something we can do. Like, here's this task. I'm not going to say what that is because it's going to be open to everybody, right? But here's this task we want you to do. Here's this little game we want you to do. And it's not going to be turn to the person next to you and tell you, like, that's too neurotypical, right? It's like, we're going to basically make an info dump permissible if we can, like all those things that people just, oh, nobody wants to hear that. No, we want to hear it. We want to hear what you are passionate about, because the whole point is like, maybe there's one other person in the room who likes, what you like as much as you like. I mean, Manfred, the skeleton from Veilguard, love him. There's gotta be other Manfred aficionados out here. I did a picture on Blue Sky that I took a screen cap of Manfred and put a party hat on him and put happy 2025. And someone wrote back something like GIF of best boy. And I was like, what is this about that? Oh, it's the Manfred. Okay, so someone else is a Manfred fan. See, that's how it works, right? You put yourself out there, you do something kind of silly, and you meet people who are silly in the same way that you are. And I find a lot of these, balls surrounding cute boys are a little too, like, cooler than you. That doesn't mean they don't have their place. If people want to run events where people show up and drool over boys, that's their bag. But we kind of want to do something where the guest is the center and the guest shows up and they're sort of the person that matters, not a bunch of conventionally attractive actors who may not have even read more than the first two books, if that. So we really believe in making people feel welcome. And of course, the way we do that more than anything is we act like a bunch of idiots on the regular. If you are subscribed to the New World Events social media, we did Elsa and Anna from Frozen we did Wicked before the holidays too. I was Glinda, and it basically came down to who has the most pink. I had the most pink because of Princess Markle Muffin costume. So short straw, but Megan then, of course, because she is a singer, broke into Defying Gravity Live. She earned the part. Yeah, we're going to be doing, in a couple weeks, we're going to be doing Wicked Queen and Snow White, too. So that'll be really fun. We do all this stuff at the 400 Market. It's a similar area to where we're actually doing the Unbirthday Ball, because one of the ways we were able to afford the prices is to find a place that was affordable and that means getting the F out of Toronto, right? It's north. It's in a place called East Gwillimbury, which is Newmarket, essentially. So, I mean, there's a GO line that goes right there. For people who are around the world, you don't know what this means, so I'll just move right on. But where this came from was everybody talks about the loneliness epidemic. And everybody talks about people need to get out there and meet more friends. And I keep hearing about dating apps and speed dating and all that stuff. But dating is a subsection of friendship. The more people you know, the more people you are likely to meet through those people. And we're going to figure out some cool way to even create connection. We have some ideas, but I haven't solidified them quite yet. But for the people who sponsor the people who are getting subsidized tickets, there will be a way that you will be thanked by the person who gets the ticket. So there's even connection there. It's not just going into the ether. You know something about the person you helped, you know? Because I think one of the other things I'm hearing from people a lot is I validate, right? I compliment. I prefer validation. Some people call it compliments, but people don't get enough of those. And because they're sincere, it really means something. There's nothing more powerful than sincere praise or a sincere thank you, right? And I do think that we need more of that positivity. And I know, you know, when we did the Spider-Man shit last year, the very idea that we knew there was this house to save and we could do it and we did it. And then poor Eileen got introvert overloaded at the family Christmas that took place in that house. But like, okay, you can say, well, it's selfish because you know the person, but you're also connected to it, right? You get to see the ongoing impact you've made in this community, an online community. We talk about it all the time, but we don't do it, right? Everybody does the same damn thing. So I'm nuts enough to go, okay, we're going to start a Discord, but I don't like Discord. I didn't like any of the server experiences I had because it always felt to me, I always felt like I was constantly trying to remember the 25 fucking rules the server had. And I just, the minute any sort of course content got introduced, it just became edgelord central. And I have a pretty blue sense of humor. I said to a client yesterday, I said, brain fart. Like, okay, I'm going to do this so I keep my brain farts to myself from now on. Yeah, you don't have to brain smell them. Like, I have a kind of sophomoric, we'll say, sense of humor. But I know, you know, when to turn it off. And I do think that part of the problem with this rule and this antagonistic relation, like rules on servers and antagonistic relationships with the mods, and it's all rule lawyering and you know, members versus the mods. It's not building community. It's building an adversarial relationship. And so I'm like, I'm gonna do it differently. And so I hear all the time, this isn't how other people do Discord. It's like, I know, that's the point. We are actually using like mental health science instead of just the tradition of Discord. Can you see how I love Alice in Wonderland? Oh, all of the stuff on the unbirthday ball ticket page is stuff I just had. I am an Alice fiend. I am a real freak about it. So, Megan and I wanted to do something that we legitimately loved and share it. And one of the things we've heard from the fantasy ball community is, oh, thank God it's something different. Because we wanted to have something that was female focused, because with fandom, it's really hard to do anything now for men, because in Toronto, we've got massive Comic-Cons, right? And yeah, a lot of women go to Comic-Con, but let's face it, it's pretty guy driven, you know? And there's a major Comic-Con coming up like in the month of March. Toronto Comic-Con, Spring Comic-Con happens. That's handled, but it's too big, right? You're lost in the crowd. But then there's a bunch of other conventions, and I did that. Again, I don't like it. I don't like how your standard sci-fi convention is run. I find it ultimately becomes a lesson in avoiding accountability for any decisions. And I don't think it has to be that. That is just where we are in like fan run cons. And so I tried it. They weren't interested in my ideas. So moving on to something that is. But also, you know, if a guy wants to sort of push himself out of his comfort zone in a nerd space, a geek space. I'm sorry, I am not offended by nerd. I know some people don't like nerd. They prefer geek, but I'm like, nerd. I am both. I am a proud nerd. So, my thought is, like, if you have trouble talking to girls, going to an anime con that's autism central is not going to help much. Because not only are you, you know, you can do the autistic love language is fine, but you're very likely to get into that, oh, he was creepy, you know, and that's a bad experience. We want to create a different experience. So it's like there are going to be some people there who are staff, so it's okay to talk to them. So if you aren't sure whether something is okay, you can go up to the staff. And I mean, I've done that. Like, oh, you want to do this? Come with me. That's my idea of hospitality, right? You're having trouble with this. You don't know what to do. Hey, this is somebody. They're new. You know, they don't know anybody here. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. That's what event hosting is supposed to be. And you can't really do that unless you keep the staff to attendee numbers manageable, right? So we're not going to have so many attendees that staff can't work that way. And I think that's better. And let's face it, you know, Alice in Wonderland is one of the things that is sort of both. We've been going over a few. It's the one we also had the most stuff in our closet for. So keeping the budget down. Yeah. But we've thought of other ones if this one works. We've got plans for other themes. But mostly we just want it to be somewhere where someone can show up and know there are at least some people, meaning me and Megan and the other people there, like the staff, who are happy to talk to you and will help you integrate into the group, as well as there being other activities where you can just sort of, because, you know, sitting side by side and talking is more comfortable for some people. That's okay if you want to do it, but we don't want guys hugging the wall because they don't know what the hell's going on with the guys with bat wings, right? Or they don't want to know. So we want it to be very attendee focused. We want to have stuff that people can do if they want to, but are not forced to, because some people don't want to be put on the spot. They want to be able to watch and then do it. And some people are just happy to watch other people have a good time too. And one of the things I didn't like about conventional icebreakers at like corporate events and stuff like that is everybody is forced to participate. And the minute something is coerced, it's traumatic. And, you know, if people would rather just use name tags, that's cool. You know, some people really have trouble forcing themselves to communicate verbally. So there's going to be a lot of different, like, you can call them social redundancies as well. But this is the kind of stuff that we want people to come and feel like somebody thought about this stuff instead of just doing it the way everyone else has done it. I've never been someone who likes doing things the way other people do it because I don't have to. There's other people who do it better. The whole idea of the whole It's Not Therapy brand, the pivot to mental health, is to take the ethical reporting that I believe strongly in with games journalism, and I increasingly believe you can't do it in games journalism. It's all cronyism and rumor mongering. I want the real stuff. I want fact-based stuff. And that's why I started It's Not Therapy. That's why I got back into peer counseling is, hey, there's a need. I can do this in a way that I'm the best at what I do, right? I know I'm a good journalist. That's how I get into so much trouble. But it's the same thing here. We're not going to do things the way other people do them in this space, in part because Megan and I have both been entertainers since we were children, right? We've got a lot of experience combined. And also, we're just a couple of weirdos. And maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, right? But at least we're trying. We're not just saying this is a problem and waiting for someone else to solve it. We're actually thinking about ways to get people connecting to each other. So New World Events CA for the Canada part, that's the socials. And then again, Google the unbirthday ball to get to the ticket page, or there's a link in the description box below if you want to help us out, if you want to find out more about what's going on. Taking it to the next level with wellness, you know, throwing in with this to see, you know, if it works. It may not. I hope it will. But at least we're trying, right? At least we're looking at something that we can do something about, controlling what we can control, and trying to make things a little bit better for the people we can, right? That's all anybody can expect from anyone. So links are in the description box, but also if you just want to support this channel, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. But you can put the same money into the unbirthday ball. Link below. Thanks for watching and be well.